All right, Chapter 2, Commission Rules and Regulations. In this chapter, we're going to uh, identify standards set by licensing law and commission rules regarding the brokerage business. We're going to explain the Real Estate Commission's regulations for broker business relationships and advertising. And we're going to describe violations and penalties for violating licensing law. So let's start off with a salesperson may not accept any form of compensation except from their supervising broker. They may not maintain an escrow account with the funds that belong to others, and they cannot work for more than one New Jersey broker at a time. They give you a link here to see the latest version. They give you the link to the Real Estate Commission's website, actually. I give you a link to those latest rules. I gave it to you in the last chapter. Let me see if we got them here. No, I had it in the last chapters. A link about the licensing, the Real Estate Commission's rules and regulations. Okay. So you got the statutes and the rules. I had the links in the last chapter for that.
That's in the book, no?
Okay. Yeah, and it's printed in the back of the book. But they change, so they get updated. So you can always get the latest versions from those links that I showed you in the last chapter. Or you could also find them in that class notes and links here. So here's that Word document. If we were to go to the beginning of it, I'm trying to get to the beginning of it here. Chapter 1, where is it? There we go. The New Jersey statutes, and here's where you get the latest administrative code and the Real Estate Commission's website. I could share that with you in the chat window, but this is the information that they're talking about. Okay. So these are questions on exams, We went over this in the last chapter too, Who can you be paid by? Only your broker, the broker you work for. So you can only accept compensation from your broker. So if you get any questions that are long-winded, they ask you in a scenario, they give you a scenario. Doesn't matter how long-winded the question is, just go back to basics. Who can pay you a commission? Only your broker, right? So you should not be able to get this question wrong, okay? You cannot maintain an escrow account or hold on to funds belonging to others. That's your broker's job. So your clients give you money. What do you do with it? You immediately give it to your broker. So your broker can do their bookkeeping and then put it in the bank account. And you cannot work for more than one New Jersey broker at a time. You could be licensed in multiple states and work under different brokers in each state, but you can only work for one New Jersey broker at a time. All right.
Okay.
So every broker who is a broker of record has to have a physical place of business. Because we learned in the last chapter, chapter 1, that what does a broker need to provide for you as their agent? What does the broker need to provide for you? Office space and guidance and direction, right? They need to have a physical place of business. No virtual offices are allowed. And they need to make sure that you're following the laws and rules, the laws and the rules and regulations of the Real Estate Commission, the administrative code. So every broker who's a New Jersey resident must maintain a physical place of business. They can have an office. It is possible for the broker to have an office in their own home. Of course, the home must meet with the local zoning requirements. You can't just start a business in the middle of a residential area. But if your home is located in an area that is zoned mixed use for commercial and residential, then you can. If your house is set up for it, like you have one entrance for the house and a separate entrance for the business. So you must have a separate entrance visible from the street. You don't go around to the side or around back to get to it. It has to have a separate entrance visible from the street. And it has to have a sign with the broker's name and the words licensed real estate broker on it. The office must never be in the home of any of the broker's associates, meaning their salespeople, broker salespeople, or referral agents. And the purpose of that is to prevent license lending. Now, who can manage an office? Who can manage a brokerage? Who can manage an office? Only somebody with a broker or a broker salesperson's license can manage an office, whether it's the main office or a branch office. They need to be all offices need to be managed. A broker can't have more than one office if they don't have an office manager for the other office. But who can manage an office? Somebody with a broker type license. And they need to be supervising that office. They must be physically present in it at least 5 days a week during normal business hours and not have another job. So let's highlight that now in the book on page 16. Let me know when everybody's got the notes.
Got it.
I got it.
All right. So every broker in every office, the broker has to keep a copy of the licenses for all the agents that are working in that office, and they must be available for public inspection. A lot of brokers post these on the walls in picture frames, but they don't need to be hanging in the walls in picture frames. I find that to be a pain in the neck because every time you get a new agent or you get one that leaves, you got to find which one is theirs, grab a line, pull it out, and try to be going out and playing with these picture frames and the licenses. I find it a lot easier to put it in a binder behind the front desk. It's available for the public to see upon inspection if they like to. Each branch office has to have a copy of all the agents working out of that office. The main office has to have the copies of all the agents that are working out of that main office, as well as all of the branch offices in that binder that's available for public inspection. Okay, so let's take some notes. We're going to copy these highlights and write down these notes I got here. And then for page 16 and 17. And then we're going to go to the next slide, which is my explanation of the same stuff. Let me know when you got all the highlights and notes. Is anybody still writing, or has everybody got it?
Got it.
So, brokers have two bank accounts: an operating account used to pay brokerage bills and the agent's commissions, and an escrow account, also known as a trust account, used to temporarily keep other people's money in during the transactions. We may hold on to their deposit money or their security deposits or their deposits when purchasing. So for the short period we're holding it, we need to safeguard that money in an escrow or trust account. Escrow trust mean the same thing. It's a bank account for holding other people's money temporarily. So brokers cannot keep any interest earned if it is an interest-bearing bank account. So that's because a broker cannot make a secret profit on their client's money by keeping the interest. Accounts must be clearly labeled as an escrow or trust account in the banking records, so that in the event the broker gets sued or files for bankruptcy or dies, nobody's going to go grabbing the money out of that account and claiming it as theirs. You, as the real estate licensees, must give any deposit money that your clients give you to their brokers immediately, because the broker has to deposit it within 5 business days of receipt. What does that mean? 5 business days from the time you received it from your client, not 5 business days from the time the broker gets it. Okay? They may also refer to this as within 5 days of acceptance. That doesn't mean within 5 days of the offer being accepted. It means within 5 days of you accepting the money from your client. You got to immediately turn it over to your broker, because now your broker needs to put some notes in their record books, their escrow books, their escrow records, that states who gave us that money, how much money did they give us, what was the purpose of that money, and who's the agent in the transaction. The broker needs to keep an account of how much money is from each person in that bank account. Where's all this money coming from that's in our bank account? So anytime money is deposited or taken out, the broker needs to do some record keeping in the escrow books. They need to keep copies of all the receipts, for the deposits, or copies of all the checks that paid out. And the broker's not allowed to take any money out of the escrow account unless the deal falls apart and they get authorization to release the funds back to the buyer. Or if a judge orders it because there's a dispute, and then a judge will decide who will get that money. So brokers must keep all records, accounts for all funds, deposits, and withdrawals in that escrow book. The brokers keep bank account slips and records for 6 years. Yeah, I'm going to add something to this note here. That let's see, the brokers in an escrow book which must be updated at least.
Do I have to take a screenshot of that so I can write it down or no?
Sorry?
Do I need to like take a screenshot of that so I can write it down later on or no?
You could be writing your so you could be taking screenshots. Or you could just download the slideshows. I have these slideshows available for you as well.
Oh, okay, so then
Or
no.
I told you I put this into a Word document in the same folder where the slideshows are.
Okay.
You've got this Word document.
Oh, all right, thank you.
Remember, hold on a second. I could scroll down to, where is it? Where's this chapter ending here? There you go, chapter 2. This is all the information. Here we go, cash. We're talking about the escrow accounts right now, right? The main office, all the stuff we just spoke about that's on all these slides, I also put into a Word document that you could just have right here. Okay, so we're going over this right now. Licensees must give deposit money to their broker immediately. Brokers must deposit the money within 5 days of receipt from the time the deposit is given to their agents, not from the time the offer gets accepted. Brokers must keep all records accounting for funds, deposits, and withdrawals in an escrow book. And it must be updated quarterly, at least quarterly. Which is every 3 months. Okay. Brokers must keep bank deposit slips and escrow records for 6 years. Commingling is prohibited. That's mixing the broker's funds with the client's. However, the broker may keep a small amount in the escrow account to cover any banking fees to maintain the bank account. Written receipts are required for cash deposits. Let's go back to the slideshow. Funds already in the escrow account that become the broker's commission must be removed within 5 business days or may be considered commingling. What is commingling?
Mixing money, personal money with this program.
Personal funds in the escrow account with their client's money. Correct. So this must provide, you must provide accounting for advanced fees from clients of over $25. An example is if they pay an advance fee to help with marketing. You got to notify the client how the money is utilized within 90 days and place those funds into an escrow account. Cash deposits and withdrawals. Any cash deposit of $10,000 or more must be reported to the IRS. Withdrawals must never be made to cash, only to a specific person. Because if you write a check out and you make it out to cash and you don't write it to a person's name, anybody who picks it up off the ground, if you drop it, can cash it. It's as good as cash. So here are some reasons, even though you're allowed to accept cash from your clients, here's some reasons why you should not. This is just my personal advice, not correct answer for exams, okay? You're allowed to accept cash from your clients. I don't recommend you do this. Why? Well, other than the temptation of taking the money or using it, borrowing it, whatever it is, if you get robbed, you're responsible for the money. Somebody mugs you. If they give you any bills that are counterfeit, you're responsible for that money. You know your client's going to be like, oh, I don't know. I gave you good, I want my money back. You know, they don't want to accept the fact that some of the money they gave you may have been counterfeit, and you're asking them to replace it with more money. You know, how do I know that you're not just trying to steal money? You know, drama. What is drama good for? Come on, what's drama good for? TV. That's it, right? I don't know about you guys. I don't want drama in my personal life, and I don't want drama certainly in my business life. Do you? So avoid drama. Your cash is no good here. Real estate is not an instant transaction, not even an overnight transaction. And you need to report it to the IRS. And, you know, anytime you communicate with the IRS, it needs to be on a specific form. I couldn't even tell you what that form is, you know? I don't accept cash. If it's in the bank reports it to the IRS. Did you know that? If you deposit $10,000 or more in your bank accounts, did you know that the bank is reporting it to the IRS? They're not even telling you about it. They're reporting it to the IRS. They're required to. We're required to if our clients give us that kind of money. Where'd you get it from?
Yes.
Drug dealing, prostitution, money laundering, or some other nefarious means, or was it from legitimate purposes? If the money cannot be traced, there's an issue. This is why the IRS needs to see where the money's coming from. Did you know if you get pulled over, you guys ever watch Cops or Live PD or any of those programs on TV? You guys ever watch those shows with Cops, Live PD, or what's the other one? I forget what the other one is.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch that?
Yes.
You remember when cops pull people over, like, you got any guns, handguns, launchers, or anything like that? Do you have any large amounts of cash or drugs on you? Why do the cops ask about cash? Do you know, especially in border states, but it can be anywhere, if you get pulled over and you got more than $10,000 of cash on you, do you know the police can seize you that money? They could take the money and they could report it to the Treasury. And the Treasury will then hold on to those funds. And until you could prove where the money came from, that it's not from nefarious means. And even if you prove it, sometimes you have a hard time getting that money back because they don't want to let it go. And the messed up part is that when they seize this money and they don't return it, they split it with the police department that seized it. It's pretty screwed up, huh? But yeah, that's a little unknown factoid there that a lot of people are unaware of. But I'm full of useless information like that. So it's highly suggested that you get certified check or a bank manager's check only. Here's another tip. Make sure return deposits are made out to the person and that gave the money. Look, the check can be from a relative who is helping you purchase a house. You don't make the funds back out. The broker should not make the check back out to the person who gave us the check. They should make the funds back out to the person whose name was on the check. Listen, I dealt with this before. Sometimes we deal with drama within the family. You know, a family member was helping out with the deposit money to purchase a house or for the down payment or whatever it is, right? And the deal fell through, so we wrote the check back out, returning the money to the buyer. However, the buyer's not the one that actually gave us the money. It was their relative. And when you do this, it could open up drama. I dealt with this once before, where then I had the family member calling me up and yelling at me, "How do you get the check back out to them? I'm the one who wrote the check out to you. He's got a gambling problem, and you gave him that money." And always make it out back to the person, or your broker should anyway. Now, avoid personal checks and money orders. Personal checks sometimes can bounce, and if they do, we need to treat everybody fairly and honestly in a real estate transaction. That means we need to make everybody aware in the transaction now that the check bounced. What do you think that's going to do to your transaction? If you're a seller and it's an offer on your property, and they gave a check to their agent and the check bounced, what are you thinking? Come on, guys. What are you thinking?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
You're a seller. And you get an offer on your property. Their agent includes a copy of the check that their client gave as a deposit to purchase your property. And then they got to treat everybody fairly and honestly, so the check bounced. And now that buyer's agent notifies you that their buyer's check bounced. What do you think that's going to do to the transaction?
Going to be avoided.
You're going to want to kill it? Right? Yeah, you want to kill that transaction. You want to avoid that transaction. Because what's the likelihood that this guy's going to be, he's bouncing deposit checks already. You think he's going to go through, be able to close on this property? Now, there are valid reasons that people sometimes bounce checks. Well, I keep all the money in my savings account. I just didn't transfer it over in time before they cashed the check, and so the check bounced, but I have the money in there now. I mean, there's legitimate reasons that checks bounce. And it doesn't have to be that the person just didn't have the money and they wrote out a check more than the money that they had. They just didn't transfer the money in time, you know? So, but that's drama. So I say avoid the drama. I don't accept personal checks or money orders either. Because money orders, sometimes they're washed. You may have bought a money order legitimately, but it was a stolen money order that was washed. You're not going to know this till months later, when the money order company gets their money order back and they're like, wait, this was a stolen one. And then they go back to the bank account where it was cashed and they take the money from it. By then, that's months ago. That client is long gone, along with that deposit money probably, because their deal probably fell through. And now you're stuck with the money order company pulling money out of the escrow account, which is now somebody else's money. Drama. So I avoid personal checks and money orders. Money orders can be worse than personal checks. These are personal checks. You find out right away if they bounce. Now, when buying all cash, don't expect somebody to come to your office with a duffel bag full of money. It doesn't work like that. They're usually wiring the funds. They're transferring the funds by wire transaction. You never see the money. They get transferred from one bank to the next. Okay. But when somebody does purchase a property and they're saying, I'm buying all cash, don't worry, player, I got the money. Yeah. It's not that I don't know you or nothing, but I don't know you. And I don't know how much money you got in your bank account. I just need to know that you have enough. So I don't care if you're Donald Trump. Money's a problem for everybody. Remember, Donald Trump even filed bankruptcy several times in his life, right? So people, it doesn't matter. You could be poor, you could be rich. People got different money problems, just different levels, different amounts of money. Money's always an issue. So it's not that I don't know you, but I need to know that you have enough money to cover this transaction. And we need to get a proof of funds letter from the bank manager where you have your money. A proof of funds letter is just a standard letter that the bank manager has where they take a peek into your bank account and they see that you have sufficient funds to cover this type of purchase amount. So you just need to tell them how much money the proof of funds letter needs to reflect. And then the bank manager looks in the account. If they have sufficient funds to cover that, then the bank manager will fill out the form. They'll sign it. They'll stamp it. They'll hit it with a raised stamp. And now that's an official proof of funds letter showing that you have sufficient funds in your bank. I don't need to know how much money you got. I just need to know you have enough. So let's start doing some highlights of these notes now for banking fees and deposits and withdrawals and all that.
What I the 4:30 the class ending?
Yep, we're just gonna do these highlights on these notes of what we just went over on this slide, which will be this slide, and I think maybe one more. And then we'll be done for the day.
Okay.
So let me know when you got these notes.
Yeah, I got it.
Everybody got this? Okay, and these notes, broker got to keep all records for 6 years. Oh wait, this is a little beyond. This is the escrow records they got to keep for 6 years, but okay, this is a little bit beyond. Okay, so we'll continue here tomorrow. So we'll stop off here. What slide number is this? Let me just share that with you guys. Slide number 12. This is where we left off. Chapter 2, slide 12. And let me throw out the attendance record, and then we'll be done for